Hey everyone, I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, or still in progress. Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. And sorry I haven't been able to do one of these for a while, but I've been busy myself. Yeah, just going to talk about the weather for a few minutes across the country. And more specifically, I'm going to talk about what's going on in Colorado, which isn't much for the time being. However, we are going to see some much cooler air pour in starting early next week. But taking a look at water vapor imagery, as you can see, kind of what we call a split flow pattern, so a fairly active polar jet in the northern latitudes, and that's kind of, there's this big upper level low across much of the Midwest and northeastern part of the country, and that's going to bring some pretty impressive snows into parts of New England and also some lake effect snow across parts of Pennsylvania and upstate New York, and I'll talk about that in just a second. Front is finally pushing its way across parts of Florida, which is very welcome there. And they really do need a break from the muggy air. It's just been so unseasonably mild. Actually, hot is actually a better term, and humid. Same with regions along the Gulf Coast, so I'm sure that is welcome there. And there's this upper level low over just off the coast of California right there. Taking a look at current radar picture, you can see a bunch of snow showers and maybe even some rain showers there across much of the Midwest, pushing into parts of upstate New York. You can see there's some lake effect there, and then there's the main story across parts of New England, bringing some heavy snow to Maine, New Hampshire, and parts of Massachusetts. And then there's the what's left of the front, pushing south across Florida, kicking off a few showers and thunderstorms there. Also, you notice a plume of tropical moisture kind of over the desert southwest, moving into parts of West Texas. Go back to water vapor imagery, you can see that there, bringing them a few showers across New Mexico and El Paso and southern New Mexico. And then again, your usual rain showers across parts of the Pacific Northwest. Just as surface observations, this is showing along the Gulf Coast. You can see northwesterly flow at the surface is the dominant regime at this point, bringing in some much cooler and drier air, which is much more comfortable than what we've been seeing recently. And you can see the front there draped across Florida. Miami, I think Miami's being cut off there, but anyways, 60s and 70s. A nice change from what we've been seeing recently. 80s, and I believe even Tampa hit 90 last week. So just good to see some more comfortable air pour in. This is the upper air pattern from the SPC mesoscale analysis. This is just the RAP, 300 millibar heights and winds, and you can see there's that split flow that I was talking about, kind of a shortwave ridge across Great Basin and parts of the desert southwest, and then the main polar jet is really diving in across parts of the Midwest and into New England. That's bringing them some fairly active weather. I talked about lake effect snow. This is the Buffalo observed sounding from 0Z this evening. As you can see, westerly winds blowing off, I believe that's Lake Erie. So you have pretty relatively warm waters at this time of year in December, and chilly air above that. So what that does is it steepens your low-level lapse rates. And you can see here, even though the profile is nearly saturated through roughly the depth of the troposphere for that matter, you can see the tropopause is maybe 475, 450 millibars. That's where the temperature starts to become constant or increase with height. You can see really just steep lapse rates here, and I can even just, what's nice about NSHARP is that NSBC soundings is they read out what the lapse rates within certain layers are. You can see low level lapse rates, 7.8 degrees C per kilometer. That's very steep given such a moist and saturated profile, so no surprise there with that cooler air moving over a warmer lake surface. Closer to home, this is the Denver sounding, just a pretty average sounding. I actually haven't checked what we hit today, but it just felt like a pretty average day, which it was. I don't imagine we were much warmer than this earlier in the day, but maybe I shouldn't assume that. 42 degrees on our 0Z sounding, that's at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 5 p.m. local time, Denver time. And that just a fairly dry profile, thanks to that shortwave ridge that I just had over here. Yeah, so fairly quiet for the time being. And that will continue into the weekend before we start to see some changes as cooler and maybe even some moisture makes its way into the state Monday into Tuesday, and then leaves us with some very cool air. Surface observations across northeastern Colorado, just, nothing too crazy, just temperatures mainly in the low 30s, hovering right around right at or above freezing. Some spots are below freezing, really Lyman and spots. A little bit warmer in the southeastern corner of the state, but overall just low 30s, fairly quiet evening, and a nice evening to go for a walk and whatnot. So yeah, let's talk about a little bit what's going to be happening here over the weekend. So we got the shortwave ridge across much of the western part of the country, and there's that kind of weak closed low over off the coast of California for that matter, and then we have this trough over much of the Midwest, bringing them some snowier and cooler weather. And as you can see, the ridge kind of builds in a little bit through tomorrow. Downsloping tomorrow will push our temperatures up rather nicely. We might even hit 60 degrees in a few spots. Kind of interesting because with this downsloping regime across the Front Range, areas closer to the foothills, while they're more influenced by downsloping, they also tend to get that mountain wave cloud that kind of sits over the foothills and adjacent locations such as Boulder, Golden, Longmont. So that can actually limit their temperatures a little bit. So areas further east, while they may see more sunshine, they will be further away from much of the effects of downsloping. You can see here just 700 millibar winds. This is just from the 12Z GFS this morning. You can see 30, 35 knots out of the west at 700 millibars. So strong downsloping, probably will be pretty gusty in Boulder and areas along the foothills tomorrow. Even southeast of Denver, where I am, could be a little bit breezy, but mild tomorrow, so enjoy it. High temperatures at or even slightly above 60 degrees, depending on the cloud cover. Anyways, I'll go back to the 500 millibar height pattern, and so you can see there's that weak closed low over California now. It kind of just gets absorbed into this trough digging in down from the northwest, and then there you can see the closed low, and then we start to get a shot of really cool air into early next week. There we go. Those are those lower heights. The bluer lower heights than what we would usually see this time of year. And as you can see, there are just a few waves that kind of get kicked around the base of the trough, and that might bring us a chance for some snow. Monday night looks like our first chance. I'm not going to get into details at this point. It's still a few days out. I know I sound like a broken record saying that, but I'm not going to get too specific at this point. Another thing is just a quick note. It's just a cold front will be pushing through Saturday. It doesn't look very strong, but it'll probably dip our temperatures, maybe dip high temperatures on Saturday, a good 15, 20 degrees below our highs that we see tomorrow on Friday. So we might maybe low to mid 40s in Denver. You can see here, there's that front. Wind shift to northerly early Saturday night. So let's see what the NAM is showing. This is the 18Z NAM. Yeah, so highs maybe around 40 for Denver, and maybe a little bit warmer as the higher up you go. So places like Elizabeth, Parker, where I am, just places along the Palmer Divide and up against the foothills. Yeah, these are just temperature anomalies, just to give you an idea of how cold it really will get next week, or might get next week. Yeah, high temperatures on Wednesday, Thursday, a good 15 to 20 degrees below our average high, so maybe not even getting out of the teens in some spots, especially Wednesday. Wednesday looked like a chilly day as well. Teens, 20s for highs. Very well could see sub-zero readings at night, again, especially Tuesday night, Wednesday night, even into Thursday night. And then chances for snow, kind of, nothing looks too impressive at this point, but it looks like there are some chances for snow early into mid-next week. And so again, I'll try and do another one of these videos before then, maybe talk about the snow in a little bit more detail, but just for now, just wanted to throw that out there that we will be transitioning into a cooler and potentially moister pattern. All right, so thank you for watching, and yeah, Happy New Year's.